everyone. My name is Samira Murillo from Brockton Workers Alliance. Thank you so much for one more time enjoying our conversations. And this time we have the opportunity to have few of the candidates running for the mayoral position in Brockton. And also I want to thank to Victoria and Ervens. They are representing Brockton Interface, and Eli, he's representing Brockton Workers Alliance. They are the youth that are helping us to make the question to the candidates today. And also they help us to make the questions. So this is their space, so to make the question for our candidates. Also, one more time, I want to thank to the mayoral candidate for taking the time to let the Brockton community know that your goals, mission, and hopes are to shape a better Brockton through the questions being asked. Brockton Workers Alliance is committed to supporting workers in the fight for their rights, including access to fair wage, affordable housing, childcare, and reliable public transportation. Beyond that, we are deeply engaged in issues that impact the well-being of Brockton residents, whether it is related to the local economy, education, housing, or public health, because this is our community and we all live here. As a 501c3 nonprofit organization, Brockton Workers Alliance does not endorse or support any specific political candidate. Our goal is to ensure that the community is informed, empowered, and actively votes and engaged in shaping a better Brockton for everyone. So now I want to let you know how the debate will be. So each of you will have 2 minutes for the opening statements. Also, we have 2 minutes to respond to the question making by the youth. And for example, if you want to go back and forth with the question, each candidate will have 30 seconds of rebuttal. Also, you will have 4 minutes for the closing statement. I want to recognize the presence of the Luz Villar. Thank you for being here. Also, Eugenie Cabanach. Thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you.
And also we have Karina Montplelas. Thank you so much. Something that I love of this panel today, because you represent exactly what Brockton is, diversity. And I really love that and I appreciate that. Thank you for being here. Also, I want to ask you, when someone is answering the question, don't interrupt the person that is talking at that moment, and also to be respectful and kind in the answer you are giving, because this is more a conversation, not a fight. Yes, I want to clarify that. And now I will give the space for the youth so they can be able to introduce themselves and to start with the questions.
So my name is Eli. I'm a representative for Brockton Workers Alliance. I go to New Heights Charter School, and I'm in the 7th grade. So this question is for Ms. Villar. Many Brockton residents are concerned about crime and violence. They want to feel safe in neighborhoods and trust the police. How will you work to reduce crime in Brockton, build a bridge between police and residents?
Thank you, Eli. I appreciate that question. So for that, that's actually one of, I would say, my wheelhouses, public safety. I don't think safety is synonymous with law enforcement per se, but rather the presence of the resources that we need to reduce and prevent violence. So the city does a great job at responding to it, but violence prevention, that's not something that is our strongest suit right now. And work I've done before that I want to bring here is crisis intervention and our trauma response work. So I've seen it done in other cities like Boston and across the board in states that I've worked in that have high crime rates. But I would say, in short, that it's a multi-layered response in building trust with constituents and our residents, not just between law enforcement, but government overall. There's like the law ecosystem, where it's not just police, but all of the entities that fall under that, really building the bridges with our constituents. But like I said, it's the prevention part. And so a lot of times with the violence, what it stems from, we conflate it with poverty. but it's really from the unhealed trauma that we're not taking care of for our people. So we can give people a fancy city, great jobs, but if we're not taking care of the insides, it doesn't stop the nightmares or the things that drive us to do certain things. And so I would say, in short, work on bringing resources that that are conducive to violence prevention, and working on building that trust. And people underestimate the power of relationship and community, and that's why my campaign is so community rooted. So literally talking to people and building that trust. I want folks to know me on a first name basis. Like, I give out my cell phone number and everything, but I want to bring those same systems here, and I've already started to do that too. So. Thank you.
First of all, good morning. I'm Irvin Zwolsi. I'm a rising sophomore at Brockton High School and youth soul leader and a member of Brockton's Alliance Promise for Youth. I have a first question for Ms. Kavanagh. Parents and students often feel disconnected from how decisions about schools and budgets are made. What specific steps will you take to improve transparency in the school system and ensure families feel included in shaping the directions of Brockton schools?
I want to say thank you for asking me such an amazing question. As someone that has fought for education and education funding, which what we know now as the Millionaire's Tax Act, I am definitely dedicated to not only building transparency and letting all, not only just educators and staff, as well as our youth and parents to understand that we do have the opportunity to use this facility here at Brockton Community Access to pour in information on the transparency, whether it's from the education budget that we know now as needs to be addressed, or the crime that's happening inside of our education system, as well as the drugs that's going inside of our education system. When our students and our parents are not identifying that, especially in their languages, that hurts a lot of the youth. In addition to that, we need to make it a transparency within the beginning of the school year through our automated services in their own languages, and send out information via mail in people's cultural languages in order for them to understand that they have the power to speak, and with the access to City Hall, and it's an open door for City Hall. Whether it's via email, they can have their questions answered publicly, or it's on a platform such as this station right here, or having town hall meetings quarterly. Parents have the right to understand that their voices need to be heard rather than the public officials' voices that are being demanded for change. So there's a big difference between those two.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does any one of you wants to answer that question?
I would just add to that, the communication part of it, when I was thinking about that question as well, there is different ways folks like to have information to them. Some people also underestimate the power of snail mail. I know some folks do like the actual handheld paper, but there's also other like technological tools that we can use for that. And so I was thinking about something I've seen used in the trauma system is it's like a text database. So for people that want to enroll in a text message, you're getting it directly to your phone. So just making that information, everything she stated, but accessible. It could be available, but it's not as accessible, so accessible.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for that. I'd also like to introduce myself. I'm Victoria Florio, rising senior at Brockton High School, youth soul leader and drum major of the marching band at Brockton High. And this next question, I open the floor for everyone to answer. Many young people and residents want more ways to engage with the city, but often feel their voices aren't heard. How would you all use technology like social media, text messaging, and community platforms, not only to share information about city services, but also to foster genuine dialogue and civic participation?
Who wants to go first?
So I can definitely go first. So when we talk about inclusion, especially when it is our youth, we don't allow our youth to have their voices heard. We continuously silence them and overpower them as adults. So we definitely need to give them their own safe space when it comes down not only to just advocating for themselves, but giving you guys opportunities to sit on boards as well, and creating things, programs and things like that in order for you guys to grow, because we can't continuously tell you how to grow. You guys are amazing, and you guys know what you guys need. So definitely giving you guys a safe space. And when it comes down to the transparency of it with technology, especially when it comes down to the Brockton community website, we need to make it transparent on that, in addition to bringing it into multiple language and letting folks know and other organizations know that this is what needs to happen in order for us to grow publicly on a community level.
I love that. I love this question. And I must say, I was very excited for today's debate. And I have to mention, this is our first youth-led mayoral debate, which is a really big deal. And I know when I met with y'all several weeks ago, I challenged it. And I said, hey, what if we had a youth-led debate? And now it's here in real life. So I love that y'all are doing that. And I really love that because I would love to bring, in addition to social media, technology, and all that great stuff, using that to amplify, our message. What are we doing at City Hall? But what I personally would love to do if elected mayor, I want to create a mentor circle. We'll figure out the specific name for it. What I would love to do is have at least, 5 to 7 young people that I directly would mentor. And I've seen the difference when we take young people and expose them to what, we can tell you how great the future is, and I think you all are amazing. There's also our young people that do not willingly walk into spaces like this and do not sign up for these extra things. And those are also the people I want to make sure we're at the table. And so having young people from different walks of life and creating that mentor, the mayor's mentor circle, I don't know, I might come up with the name here, but I want to have a group of young people that I meet with and mentor myself directly. And every week, even if it's just an hour, that makes a big difference. And in addition to that, I would also love to, I created a youth advisory council when I worked for the last congressperson. And so I want to bring that back and bring that here to Brockton if elected mayor. So I definitely want to create the spaces, use those tools, right, and those platforms to amplify. But I'm also thinking expanding the table for our young people and letting your perspective and your insight shine through. So.
Thank you.
I will say that for me, I'm sorry, this is the first time I'm speaking, so I didn't get to answer on the first or the second. I don't know if we're going to go back to it. But for this particular question, I think it starts with action, right? Because we have social media. The youth love using social media. We have a Brockton, public page for the community, and I love that. We don't have live sessions. I think live sessions would be a great implementation when it comes to Instagram Live, when people can ask questions and you're answering it as you go. I'd love to have live sessions with the youth, but also I think it starts with how we're investing in our youth. We have a Boys and Girls Club that hasn't been updated. It's been in the works for years, and it's always an excuse as to why this is not being prioritized. Or we have the YMCA. There is nowhere, I'm so sorry, I don't know if you guys have your own specific place, but I don't see anywhere in Brockton that me as a youth, if I was maybe you guys' age right now, that I would want to go hang out with my friends at, right? I remember even the mall. When I was younger, I'd be over here doing my hair, getting ready to go to the mall. Mom was looking at me like I'm crazy. But you had Macy's, we had Filene's, we had Victoria's Secret. I mean, I was too young for Victoria's Secret at the time. But still, we had all these things, right? And now when we go to the mall, I can literally probably go in my PJs and I wouldn't bump into anyone because we have less stores. We have less places for the youth to hang out. We don't even have places that really offer the youth compelling jobs, right? Or somewhere that you'd love to work. Let's say if we had a movie theater, or if we had a Dave and Buster's around here, or something that just motivates the youth to just want to be out in the community. But because we have nothing, I don't want to say nothing, but we don't have enough here in Brockton to cater to the youth, so we have more youths turning to a life of crime or turning to alternatives rather than just, let's say, even coming to the Boys and Girls Club, or even people. I've always when I ran for mayor, back when I was 22, I was scared as hell. But I heard you talking before the interview, and you were like, well, I know I'm nervous, but I just do what I got to do. That was my mindset when I was 22, right? I was nervous, and I was probably talking too much, but hey, I just did it, and I was the only woman running at the time, and the youngest candidate amongst, I think, was it 6 men? And yeah, I was intimidated. But it's about using your voices, because you're going to be nervous. Anything that you want to do in life, you're going to be nervous. But you really it's about all the youths rising up. I can tell some of you guys are nervous, but you're killing it, but you're still here. Yeah. So it's just offering these programs also to help youth, like the mentorship program that you mentioned is amazing. Because the more that you have, the more resources that you have that cater to the youth in the community, the more comfortable that they feel coming out and voicing out their opinions and the changes that they want to see in their community.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, long-winded.
I understand. Thank you.
Thank you. So I have another question for you. So many Brockton residents face language barriers that make it difficult to access city programs, services, and meetings. How will you make the city government more accessible to residents who do not speak English as their first language? And what concrete steps will you take to ensure multilingual communication and prioritize in Brockton?
Okay, so I think it actually starts with social media, what we addressed in the previous question, because a lot of our social media, it's in English, right? So, and a lot of forms that we're getting the message out to the community, it's either in English or Spanish or sometimes in Caverian Creole. But if we're being honest, we've expanded. Brockton is filled with Greek, and you have Haitians, and you just so many different languages, right? And even different forms of Creole. You have Caverian Creole, Haitian Creole, Portuguese Creole. Like, it's so many different forms of Creole, right? So it's literally just about offering these things in every single language. So if I'm on social media, when I'm flipping to the next slide, the next slide is in Haitian Creole, the next slide is in Caverian Creole, and making sure that even in our school systems, right, we have parents that can't communicate, that are afraid of even calling the schools because they don't know if there's going to be someone there that speaks their language. We can have an on-call system. We can have, and it also increases employment, right? If we're having people, or even volunteering, if we're having people be on call, like people with different language backgrounds, be on call to cater to even parents that don't speak that language, and people feel more comfortable knowing that, hey, I'm always going to have someone that speaks my language, because they're just going to call the person on call and transfer me over to that person. I don't even think I'm putting it in the right way, because I probably have to like formalize the plan. But it's things like that. It's just making sure all languages are included. And when someone comes out to us and communicates to us that they don't understand this language, it's doing everything in our power, whether it's downloading an app or helping them use Google Translate to be able to communicate with that person without judging them, without looking down on them, and making them feel excluded. And even like when we have the council meetings or all these different meetings, on our website we should incorporate, I'm so sorry, I just realized that alarm is actually for us. So it's about incorporating different languages on our websites too. So I'm just
Thank you.
going to pass it on.
Does anyone want to answer that question?
Yes, I just want to add, because English is my second language. Yo hablo español primero, soy caribeña. And how I learned English was like my dad dragging me anywhere, and I just started translating. And so and I remember being at the Brockton R&V and like being a little translator. I wanted to add to, yes, the bare minimum should be the language translation, but also I think about the daily life of what a non-English speaker is, right? Or what they do and how it flows. And so I've even thought about, I would love to, on weekends, provide constituent community hours. My dream was to really have a campaign office and use that as such. But here we are, making it work with what we have. But I really just think about, what is the day-to-day life like for those people? Most of the time, they're working multiple jobs, taking care of their kids, going back and forth. And so even when I think of like language accessibility, not just language, but being present there for them. And I may not speak all the language. I'm learning Portuguese now, so I might have to get y'all to teach me Creole. But I think the language barrier part of it is creating that access translation, but being there for them. It makes a difference when you could talk directly to the person. And I've had people be very skeptical about government. I used to be that person. I was very cynical. I refused to vote at one point in my life. But I talk to those people, and I'm honest about it. And I understand. People are very skeptical, especially the administration and federal level, state level. And so I understand all of those moving pieces too, and have worked in those spaces. So I understand the fears and what people deal with and carry every time. So I just wanted to add that accessibility part as well.
Thank you.
As the next future mayor, I definitely believe in using this space right here, Brockton Community Access. I've stood in this platform many times with Stand Up Strong, as well as supporting last year, 2 years ago election. One thing that is noticeable is that we do not use this more enough when bringing not only just what's elections all about and certain community issues, but we definitely need to talk about our healthcare issues, bringing in the issues within the education system and other areas inside city government, and teaching the policies of city government, as well as bringing down what federal policies are coming down. This space has more than enough opportunity for us to not only translate it in multiple language, but also have other youths come in here and give their perspective on what's going on in the city as well. We have a beautiful system that is already here. I don't believe we should reinvent the wheel, but more so push what is already here and supporting organizations that are inside the community, bringing all these information, especially when it comes down to immigration and how we're going to be moving forward and creating a tangible plan. This space is definitely more than enough, and utilizing it and putting it out there. It's just letting folks know that you guys are out here as Brockton Community Access, and letting them know that this is a platform that we're going to start using on a consistent basis. Thank you.
So Brockton's Youth Council used to sit with the mayor's office because of frequent turnover. This was operated and supported inconsistently over the years. The Youth Council has now been taken over by Brockton's Promise Alliance for Youth. The mayor's office has agreed with us that it is better for the Youth Council to be held by the community, and the mayor's office has committed to working with and supporting the Youth Council. If elected, what will you do to prioritize and engage with Brockton Youth Council? This question is open to the floor.
So for me, as the next mayor, I definitely will use policy that is inside the House and Senate in order to put you guys on boards, because there are policies right now, and that won't just give you guys a voice, that'll give you guys voting power in creating the Brockton how you guys want, where as the mayor, you wouldn't have to fully have my support, but we'll be working in partnership as you all will be the lead inside this, rather than us public officials being the lead. I believe that when we give you guys the voice, you guys again will create amazing opportunities, not only for yourself, but for the community as well, as we continue to grow generationally.
Thank you.
Yes, and I wanted to add to that. I've definitely, having worked on a federal and state level as well, there are so many opportunities for our young people to be sitting in, whether it's a fellowship, a job, an internship, a board. There's even some state legislature that expands some seats for our parents, and I would love to include our students in that as well. But even just for, I see you guys as ambassadors, and so I know of other opportunities. I would love to even have, like, residual income and money to have y'all travel and go places and represent our city. So I would love to do that, and still also I remain an alumni ambassador of the universities I attended with full scholarships. I did not know how I was going to pay for college either, but all of the things I've been able to do, the resources, when people told me I never could, I want to be able to bring that to you and plug you in directly. So just directly connecting y'all. That's like the theme of what Eugenia was explaining, but directly connecting you all in. And again, like I said, there's the youth that do not voluntarily walk into these spaces as well, and bringing them to the table too.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's also opening up the doors of City Hall, right? There are a lot of volunteer opportunities. You guys are working in City Hall on a day-to-day basis, then you guys are getting direct access to everything that's happening. But I'm gonna be very honest here, right? So I'm not gonna say that the youth is gonna have power over everything, but I don't go to school in Brockton High School anymore. I don't go to Pluff, I don't go to any of those places anymore. You guys do, right? Or you have family members or younger siblings that do go there. So when we have school board meetings, you guys should be there. You guys should be voicing your opinions. When we have meetings about budgeting, or where you feel like most of the budget should be allocated in your schools, like what you guys enjoy doing more, whether it be in the band, or whether it be in sports, or whether it be just choir. It's about your opinions, your voices being heard in the communities that you attend every single day. You guys spend probably like most of your time at school, do you guys not? And then you go home and you do your homework, and then you have like places like the Boys and Girls Club. What do you guys what do you guys think should happen at the Boys and Girls Club? Should we add a computer room? Should we add a place where people have just time to meet and just let me just meet up with my girl. I just had a like stressful day at school. Let me just tell you what happened. So it's just kind of like it's you guys just giving us and your opinions on what should happen in those places specifically where you're going to feel more comfortable at, when you're going to be spending most of your time in. So I think it's just opening up the doors of City Hall. You guys are volunteering, working hand in hand. You're talking. I have younger siblings, and trust me, they try to butt me out of their lives all the time. Part of me is a kid at heart, right? I want to hang out with them. I want to be at their like little Super Bowl. I have all brothers, so I'm telling you, I'm the only girl. This sucks sometimes, but I love it. But I hear them out. I hear the things that they complain about. I try to stay hip to like the things that they say, like I don't even know what it means at this point, but I try to say it and use it in the right way. But it's because I'm listening to them. It's because I'm involved in their conversation. I'm involved in their lives. So, and they're involved in mine. I have conversations with them about, hey, like, this is what I'm going through right now. And they're able to give me their fair opinion because I'm validating what they're thinking. So it's about giving you guys validation and your voice's validation and opening up the doors of City Hall to you
Thank you
guys
so
too.
much.
May I add a small rebuttal to
Yeah,
that?
sure.
In addition to what we all have just stated, that when we give, as the city chair, as the school chair committee, we continuously state that we'll open up the doors and the platform for you all to speak, but honestly, we don't give enough power to you all, especially to you and your parents, where as chair, we should not only just listen to you guys, but we should also give you guys the opportunity to vote, especially when it's attached to each ward or a nonprofit organization. We definitely have the opportunity to make your voices heard on a demanding level, versus us demanding it and empower or power over model.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much. This next question is also open to the floor. What would you all's like funding priorities be as mayor, and where does the school department fall in that prioritization?
I'll answer to that because I was looking into that, right? So in Brockton, we prioritize infrastructure. That, by the way, I don't know if you guys noticed, I still have to fix my shock absorber repeatedly because we're working on that, but it's still a problem, right? And then we took away some money from school transportation, which I didn't like because we have a lot of parents that, especially when we live in a community that people are even struggling. I think that was one of the questions, to pay their bills or the housing cost and everything like that with little resources. I mean, like, we have a lot of resources, but it's still not enough for the amount of help that we really need in this city. So when it comes, oh dang, I did it. I completely forgot the question. I started talking and I forgot the question. It was about, repeat your question.
Yes, I can repeat, of course. What would your funding priorities be as mayor, and where does the school department specifically fall in that prioritization?
Yes, funding priority is school. I think that the youth is our future, right? And all the decisions that are being made today, I'm not going to be here, and I may still be here in 50 years. Actually, I lied. I'm definitely going to be here in 50 years in Jesus' name.
Amen.
But let's say, like, but it's going to be your community. You're going to be raising your kids in this community. So the thing is, when we have a better school system, then it affects our crime, it affects poverty, it affects mental health, it affects all these things, right? Because when you have, when we're in a community where crime is so high, it's higher than the national average. Our poverty rate is higher than the national average. But then again, less and less is being invested into our schools. Then what happens is Brockton High, that was once one of the most esteemed schools in the state, where Harvard even did a whole study on our academic system. That's how great it was. But for all us to have fallen through the cracks, and the crime inside the school is so high, and it's high for schools. Oh, dang it, sorry. But I'll do a rebuttal, you guys go.
I just wanted to jump in. So the school, in terms of funding priority, did you want to add something? Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you were going to add something. For funding priority, definitely the school is number one. Our youth overall, like our families, how we're taking care of them, that's my priority. As I mentioned in my opening statement in my first question, we need to take care of the internal workings of the person, which we don't. We love to put a Band-Aid on a wound, and we need to address the real problem. Once we get the root diagnosis right, we get the treatment right. When we get it wrong, the solution of the response may be wrong as well. And so that's something I keep in mind. But our school is number one. So I graduated from Southeastern. I had to go to a trade school because I knew I may not have funds or the opportunity for college, but I ended up creating that for myself. And like Karina stated, Brockton High did perform better academically than Southeastern, especially back in my time when I was there and after I graduated. And so I've always gone back, mentored young people, invested, financially made contributions, and also have sat with my teachers and educators to talk about the curriculum. I was a high honor student, and even when I got to college, I was like, I was not ready for college. Like, let's be real, you know? And so I don't want any of our young people to feel that, especially when we know the legacy that Brockton used to have, really just overall. And so my priority in funding is making sure our families are equipped with what they need. I would love to create more jobs for our young people, but also I would love to create more opportunity for our young people to just be young and develop and let our families be able to make enough money where they can sustain themselves. And that financial burden and responsibility is not falling on our young people, right? I want you to go into work because you want to and build those skill sets, not because you have to help your family pay for things and you're parentified really young. So all that to say, the school where it lies is number one. Our public schools just across the board. And I understand the charters and the territory and the workings of all of that. But you know, capital isn't only monetary. So I'm not just thinking like, oh, we're gonna slap some dollars over here. It's like, what people do I know? What social and political capital do I have and I know of to plug in right here and build out more pipelines?
Thank you.
So for me, that's actually an amazing question as someone that was doing an intern over as a child requiring assistance where our school was referring our students to the courthouse. One thing that I was supportive of is behavioral health, especially when we do not have enough behavioral health services in our education system where we prioritize marijuana shops and alcohol shops. In addition to that, the lack of teachers that are inside the school where it's 2 to 3 classrooms inside the cafeteria for some students where we can have the opportunity to bring in job fairs as well as college fairs and nonprofit organizations supporting you guys as well as the police department in supporting you all about knowing your rights as well as basic first response, how to perform a Narcan, because we do have some students that have parents that are addicted to some kind of substance that need to understand how to use a Narcan for their parents. In addition to that, when we start to invest into those businesses that come into here, we need to be specific in mind that it is basically for our youth in addition to that, and just what me and you were talking about into what your career is going to be into biotechnology that will bring Boston, or should I say Brockton, into really develop economically. In addition, we need to start looking at not only that, how do we support our community so we can support you all so it can come back in turn, not only just financial literacy into the long-term and disability, because that's something that we need to provide for you all, or you need to provide for yourself in the future, but as well as getting some green spaces updated for you all in order to just be who you guys want to be in a safe space on a social level. In addition to that, we can definitely start to invest into grandparenting programs and internship programs where teachers we don't have enough money to do that, or we have very limited amount of money, but that's something all that can benefit our education system and navigate you all into a mentoringship as well.
Can I just add to that really quickly? I do want to give a shout out to the Youth Soul Group. I've met with some of their peer leaders not too long ago, and they talked about directly asking us and would want our next mayor to really focus on a trauma response team and system within Brockton High. And I have to say, Principal McCaskill, he comes from Boston. He's very familiar with the trauma work we've talked about. So that's a real reality I can see coming to fruition. I wanted to shout out Youth Soul for how intentional they're thinking about this and everybody. So thank you.
Thank you.
I did want to add too, because I was clocking, I think it's like this or like this. I was clocking everything that you were saying regarding the weed. We're investing into dispensaries and allowing them to be at a certain distance away from our schools, which I actually don't agree with, because I don't want my future kids to be able to walk to the weed shop right after school, right? So, and I think what we're also not doing is prioritizing mental health in high school, right? Because a lot of the things that are happening right now, sometimes that initial breakdowns happens during the stressors of high school. And we don't have enough counselors, we don't have enough mental health specialists in schools to help those kids going through it, right? So when a student starts falling through the cracks, or they're having like a month, and we're not analyzing what's going on in the household. We act like we care. We ask the basic questions, but we're not really truly analyzing what's going on in that student's household to make them act a certain way or to make them act out. And instead of putting resources in place to tutor them and help them out, what we're doing is we're just brushing everything under the rug and we're saying that we did everything that we were supposed to do according to our jobs. And that's not what we're trying to do here. I think putting more money into helping kids with going through mental health issues, and that's not just with developmental issues, but actually mental health, schizophrenia, all those different things. Sorry.
Thank you so much.
May I rebuttal?
Yeah, sure.
In addition, to add to that, just like you all was saying, is that when we talk about our special education plan and our individual education plan, that we don't have enough access to bring it here. That's in Brockton. Parents have to travel about 2 hours in order to get the resources. In addition to that, it is not language inclusive. In addition to that, parents are not having the opportunity to understand how to fight for it and maintain it. We have too many times where it's not supported or not identified inside of our education system. And when we talk about IEP, at times it is the behavioral health aspect that the child's in crisis that is needed. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we need orgs like C-Plan. Shameless plug.
Yes, 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 yes.
They're amazing.
That's all the questions we have. So that's all the question we have for today. Thank you so much. And now you have 4 minutes, each of you, to do the closing statement, please. Who wants to start?
I could definitely start first. Thank you. So my name is Eugenie Kavanaugh. I am a single parent with 2 children, one that just graduated from New Heights Charter School, and my oldest one graduated from Brockton High as well as Edison Academy, who have served 3 years into the National Guard. I am a 13-year veteran with 1 combat tour. I am a social worker, but most importantly, I am a community leader. I have been inside this community since 2015 and started organizing around 2017, where I have fought for education and education reform, where what we now know as the Millionaire's Tax Act. I sat down and fought with City Life Viva Urbana around fair housing and housing reform. I also sat down and fought for our community to have resources during the pandemic, where we ended up starting Brockton Mutual Aid and pouring back into the community. We did not ask if you are documented or undocumented. We just wanted to know, how can we support you? In addition to that, I have been inside this community demanding for change, where it was for redistricting with Senator Keenan, as well as with other organizations, in fighting for what is right, what is fair, including standing up to the mayor and demanding that he change the use of force policy in order to support not only the police officers, but in addition to that, to the residents here in Brockton. I will continuously fight for Brockton and what it stands for, as well as our youth, as well as our elders, where I work in long-term care, and I volunteer in donating my time and talent and treasures into them, where they can remain as independent as possible. I have not just came into this community to start advocating. I have been here demanding and being the voice with and for this community, and I will continue to keep fighting for this community. My name is Eugenie Kavanaugh, and I would love your vote for this election. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I can close out next. So my name is Luz Villal. I was born and raised in Brockton, and so this is very personal and deep for me. I want to thank the Brockton Workers Alliance and our young people, Youth Soul, so many of our organizations being represented here today. Today shows that leadership isn't just about who's in office. It's about who's willing to listen, take responsibility, and make change happen. With over 10 years of government experience, I know how to get results, but I'm not running to maintain the status quo. I'm running because Brockton deserves better. Better schools, safer streets, affordable housing, and more opportunities for our young people to thrive. I bring both the experience of working inside government and the determination to bring new energy, transparency, accountability to the City Hall. This campaign is about building a city where no one is left behind, where young people have real opportunities, and where every family can see a future here. Together, we can create a city that reflects values, our diversity, and our hope for the future. And so I'm ready to lead, and I'm asking for your trust and support. Please vote Luz Villal on September 16th in our preliminaries. The deadline to register to vote is September 6th. And I hope to continue working and build your trust and earn your vote. So thank you again. And I look forward to continuing to work with you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. So my name is Karina Mompoulos. I am a political science major, program manager, and an advocate and under DMH. Has spent a lot of my past years, the past 5 years, working in the mental health system, advocating for the rights of just mental health individuals, whether that be drug abuse, developmental issues, or anything like that. Brockton has been my home since I moved here, since I moved into the United States when I was 7 years old. And therefore, I'm an immigrant. I'm a super minority, I'm a woman, I'm a young person. So any kind of oppression that you can actually say that we're going through, I'm experiencing it all. But when I ran back in 2019, I had hoped to be an inspiration for other youths to rise up and just face their fears and be the change and the voice that they want to see catalyzed in their community. And I'm happy that, and I'm just honored to even be at this youth-led debate by and answering questions that are formulated by our youths. And that just proves that there has been so much growth in Brockton since I ran back in 2019. So right now, as I'm running again, and it's not easy, right? Because you guys haven't seen my signs or anything like that. When I first put my name on the ballot in May, I did not expect to have double hip replacement. Okay, so I haven't been campaigning, and I thought about taking out my name off the ballot. But despite me not being able to be, not allowed to be on heels, and them telling me that after a year is when I'd really be able to even just walk normal and live a normal life, I'm still here, I'm still fighting, and I'm still fighting for my voice to be heard. I've been a fighter all my life. I survived cancer, I've survived discrimination, I've survived just being criticized in the public eye. Back in 2019, I've received a lot of backlash. And I'm still here fighting, and I still fight to see growth in Brockton. We have our crime and our poverty rate that is higher than the national average, our education that has decreased over the past years, our scores, our graduation rate. It's not just about electing the same people that have been in office that have not done anything. It's about electing new people to be in office. It's about electing the people that reflect the change that you want to see in your community, trusting more women, trusting more minorities, and trusting that in order for us to keep moving forward, we're gonna have to try something new. Because sometimes the norm doesn't work anymore, and the faster that we realize that, the closer that we're gonna be able to make the changes that we wanna see. So I really hope that you do vote for me, or any one of these lovely ladies on September 16th, because I am all for women power, I am all for people who wanna see change, and I'm all for electing new people into office. So my name's Karina Momples, and once again, I'm so happy and honored to be here. So thank you to all you guys. All right.
And thank you so much for all of you to making this possible, to the candidates, to the youth for making the question and willing to be here and supporting us. And thank you everyone at home for taking time to watch and learn. And please inform yourself before making any decision, because when we have knowledge, we make the difference. And that's the reason why we had a space like this, so you can be able to make better decisions, because any decision we make really impact every person here in Brockton. Remember, I am your host, Samira Murillo. It's very nice to have this space for everyone, and see you next time.